2.4 million Big Macs every day. 40,000 restaurants, more than 100 countries, same taste. That sameness doesn't come from beef or bread. It comes from the pale orange sauce between the buns. But here's something that might surprise you. That sauce has no ketchup. The orange yellow comes from paprika extract and mustard bran, not tomato. Most copycat recipes get it wrong right there. And every ingredient's publicly listed on McDonald's website. You can read it now. But nobody replicates the taste at home. This is how Big Mac sauce is actually made, and why the recipe was never the secret. 1967. Uniontown, Pennsylvania. Jim Delegati ran a McDonald's franchise in a steel town full of mill workers who came in hungry and left disappointed. Nothing on the menu was big enough. Delegati stacked 2 patties on 3 layers of bun, added lettuce, cheese, pickles. But it needed something else. A sauce thick enough to hold everything together, tangy enough to cut through 2 layers of beef, rich enough to make every bite feel complete. He made one. It worked. When the Big Mac went national in '68, something odd happened. According to historical accounts, 2 different sauce versions were running at franchise locations across the country. Each one tasted a little different. 4 years later, Ray Kroc put a stop to it. One sauce, one formula, Big Mac sauce 72. But Kroc didn't make it himself. A company in Irvine, California, Golden State Foods, a name nobody outside the supply chain had ever heard, took the job. They refined the formula and scaled it to industrial production. That's the moment Big Mac sauce stopped being a kitchen recipe and became a manufacturing system. Having a recipe's one thing, making it taste identical across 40,000 restaurants every single day. That's something else entirely. Here's the thing nobody tells you. Make Big Mac sauce at home, mayo, relish, mustard, a splash of vinegar, some paprika, and it's good. Good for about 2 days. Day 3, you pop open the jar, oil slick on top. Relish sunk to the bottom. The whole thing's gone watery. You didn't mess up, you're just missing what the factory has. And that answers the paradox. Ingredients are public, but you can't copy the taste because you're missing the process. In the factory, the first step isn't adding spices, it's building a foundation. Soybean oil and egg yolk lecithin go into a tank. Lecithin works as the peacekeeper between oil and water, 2 things that refuse to mix. A high-shear mixer breaks the oil into droplets so tiny each one gets wrapped in a thin shell of lecithin. What comes out is an oil and water emulsion, smooth, even, stable. You can't build that with a kitchen whisk. Once that foundation's locked, the flavors come in. Sweet pickle relish, small cucumbers diced fine, soaked in vinegar and high fructose corn syrup, distilled vinegar, mustard bran, the source of that orange-yellow tint, onion powder, garlic powder, paprika extract. Here's where it gets delicate. The mixer speed drops. Stir too fast and the acid from the vinegar cracks the emulsion open. Sauce splits into oil and water right in the tank. Then comes the step that separates the factory from the kitchen. Xanthan gum and propylene glycol alginate, names that sound like a lab report, but they're doing one thing keeping the sauce together. Xanthan gum builds an invisible net holding every oil droplet in place, stopping them from merging and floating to the surface. PGA thickens the sauce so it clings when it hits the bun, and holds that texture even after hours bouncing inside a refrigerated truck. That's why your homemade version separates after 2 days. The factory version stays stable for 3 weeks at 4 degrees Celsius. Every batch goes through testing. pH between 3.8 and 4.2. Viscosity measured in centipoise. Color checked against a standard chart. Too sour, too thin, too bright, rejected. One off batch reaches 500 stores. At those stores, someone bites into a Big Mac and thinks, something's off today. Sauce fills into portion cups, 1.5 ounces, 43 grams. Foil seal locks on automatically. A bad seal means oxidation changes the flavor within 48 hours. From the factory, into trucks at 2 to 4 degrees, into the restaurant's walk-in cooler, out to the line. The sauce doesn't leave the cold chain until someone squeezes it onto the middle bun, right before they close the box and hand it to you. All of that for one thing. So, the Big Mac you eat in Houston feels exactly like the one in Honolulu. You heard at the start that Big Mac sauce isn't Thousand Island. Now put them side by side. They share a backbone, mayo base, sweet pickle relish. At first glance, they look like the same thing. But open a bottle of Thousand Island from your fridge and read the label. You'll find ketchup or tomato paste listed right there. Open a Big Mac sauce dipping cup, nothing. Thousand Island usually has Worcestershire. Big Mac sauce doesn't. That reddish pink in Thousand Island comes from tomatoes. That orange-yellow in Big Mac sauce comes from paprika extract and mustard bran, two ingredients Thousand Island never uses. Two sauces sitting in the same slot in your memory, filed under the same name. But their ingredient profiles split in completely different directions from step 2. You knew that, now you can see it clearly. All that, emulsion, stabilizers, QC, cold chain, you'd think once it's set, it just runs. It doesn't. In 1991, the formula was quietly changed, likely to cut costs. No announcement. Loyal customers noticed something was off but couldn't prove it. If you ever thought Big Macs used to taste better, you weren't imagining it. 13 years later, Fred Turner, former CEO, retired by then, was brought back. He tasted the current sauce and knew this wasn't the Big Mac he remembered. No document had the original formula in enough detail to rebuild it. Turner found the original California supplier from the 70s and helped bring the sauce back. The system doesn't run on its own. Somebody has to remember what right tastes like. Next time you pick up a dipping cup, foil seal, 43 grams, you're holding an emulsion built to stay stable for 3 weeks at 4 degrees. That cup passed QC, sealed on a line, rode a refrigerated truck, sat in a cooler, all before reaching your tray. If someone says it's just Thousand Island, now you can tell them why. No ketchup, no tomato, paprika and mustard bran. You know that 43 grams in a foil cup traveled a colder chain than most fresh vegetables in your fridge. You know the formula was quietly swapped in 91, and for 13 years, every Big Mac sold worldwide carried a sauce that nobody inside the company could trace back to the original. You know a retired CEO's taste memory was the only backup for a recipe served 2.4 million times a day. Just one man's tongue. The exact ratios are still trade secrets. You can copy the ingredient list. You can't copy the process spec. That's what secret really means. Not the ingredients. The system that makes every Big Mac in any city, on any day, feel the same when you bite into it. 2.4 million Big Macs. Every day. Same taste. That feeling doesn't happen by accident. It's engineered, tested, kept cold, and once found again by one man's memory. That's the process. We reveal how things actually work, one story at a time. If there's something you'd like us to explore next, let us know. Until then, trust the process.